So what a day or two. Been catching up with Will, and he's been out of pocket a little bit, but he finally has power back. He says though that they don't have water. The pipes around the house there have apparently frozen, and there's been some water main breaks, and apparently they have had some boil water advisories in the area. Even if you're able to get water, so. Republican red Texas has become a third world country, which has led to Senator Ted Cruz, well, Canadian Senator Ted Cruz. Let's reiterate that Ted Cruz was born in Alberta, Canada, by the way, to go to Mexico. So his office apparently put out a notice when he was caught at the airport that that school was out, and so he was going to be a good daddy and go down to Mexico with his daughters. But apparently that was not good enough. The right people apparently have questioned it. Even Fox News, who is back on Twitter, by the way, ironically. If we recall, Fox News, got away from Twitter for a while, but they're back, and they even called out Ted Cruz for doing this. He's headed back to Texas, to the the third world country, air quotes country of Texas, to get through what's going on there. So we'll see what all transpires. At least some folks are getting power back. It's also coming out that this organization that controls the power grid in Texas, because if we go all the way back to the Bushes, the Bush Republicans that were from Texas, and the whole tagline of "Don't mess with Texas," heaven forbid, Texas decided to do their own thing. They created their own power grid. They decided to not be part of any of the other power grids in our nation, do their own thing, and we see where that has led them. You have people at home freezing. They are not able to get power. You've got also someone was asking on Twitter, what about the telephone lines? And this comes up when the hurricanes hit. Cell phones, batteries, they only last so long. And these cell phones connect to cell towers who have to run on generators if they don't have power. So once those generators run out of diesel, you don't have cell towers. And if we fall back and continue this rabbit hole here, AT&T, or probably about the biggest telecommunications carrier here in the U.S., they don't want to sell you a plain old telephone line. Everything pretty much in the U.S. here has moved on to having a cell phone. Cell phones are not as highly regulated as the plain old telephone lines in homes, but if you still have a retro telephone line, it actually runs on its own power, and you would have a telephone line should you need it. But most of the U.S., I don't have the statistics in front of me, but most folks, don't have that. But again, we are subject to, being exploited by, these cases as they come around. So we'll see what happens. I have to quote Chasten Buttigieg, Mayor Pete's husband there. He took the the song, "If You Like Pina Coladas," and getting caught on a plane. So, of course, that is a homage to the Pina Colada song, and calling out Canadian Senator Ted Cruz deciding to go down to Mexico and getting caught on the airplane at the airport. So that'll be one of our songs that we dedicate to today. And the first song before I saw that today was Cake. There's a song by them, Mexico. And when I searched for that song today, there was another song that came up that Cake may have actually sampled. I'll have to dig into that when I have some time, but I'm going to try to bookend this episode with those two songs. and try to explain, why I did that. In other news, Rush Limbaugh is no longer with us. If we recall, President 45 gave him a presidential medal. I guess for being such a faithful follower. But I can't think of anything that Rush Limbaugh has done good. He has stirred up a bunch of deplorables over the years. He has been the buddy of the Republican Party. Good riddance. We're not going to lose anything. So bye-bye with that. The other topic that I wanted to cover on the episode here in Georgia, and I think we've covered this on an episode or two before, but my state senator, Jen Jordan, reiterated, and also Louisa Wakeman, checked her Twitter feed. She is on top of this as well. The shenanigans with the Georgia voting rules here in Georgia are under attack. So the latest is there is a Senate bill here in Georgia that you have to be over 70, you have to be out of town, not feeling well. So these are being written into the election laws, and that's going to go over to the House to be voted on. It is critical. All Georgians, I'm going to repeat this, all Georgians, you need to reach out to your elected officials and make sure they know how you feel. Call them out. And we've talked about this on previous episodes. Probably your state elected officials, they don't hear from their constituents probably much at all. You have got to get on the phone. You've got to, use tools like ResistBot. That's resist.bot. That's not a typo. That is an actual website. Again, resist.bot. They've got tools in there that you can use to geolocate yourself, connect to your elected officials, call these folks out and put them on the spot and say, what are you going to do about this? We've had, the ability in Georgia to request absentee ballots for years. And of course, now that Georgia is purple leaning blue, Republicans think that this change suddenly in election laws here is going to tip the ballots back towards, Republicans. That's the only thing and the only reason they're doing this. And by the way, they're doing this in the middle of a pandemic. So they want to crowd more people into the polling places in the middle of a pandemic, just so that they can try to retain power. If that doesn't get you off your ass to pick up the phone, to write emails, to encourage your friends and family to do the same, I don't know what, to do. So make sure that you get engaged. I'll put that in the show notes for the Senate bill that is going over to the House, and make sure that you use those tools and get on the horn. And then share, on social media, on Twitter, on Facebook. This is another form of bandwagon politics. When I was in high school, U.S. history, U.S. government class, bandwagon politics. This is at its best form. And you need to get on the bandwagon if you agree with you and your others. Democracy is not a spectator sport. You need to get involved. You need to reach out. You cannot assume that everybody agrees with you, or you cannot assume that just simply responding on a comment in a Facebook group is actually going to make a difference when you reach out and do these certain things. So make sure you're on top of this. Make sure you reach out. Make sure your voice is heard. And hopefully Texas will rejoin us in a first world country soon. Stay warm. Stay safe. Have a good week. Bye.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Goddamn Liberals. We welcome your feedback. Please comment on this episode below or send us an email at feedback@gdliberals.com.